welcome back. We're going to do the Midwest region now. We'll start off right away with the number 1 seed Virginia Cavaliers taking on the 16 Hampton Carl. I don't know what they are. What's Hampton?
Pirates, maybe?
Bulldogs?
Hampton,
kind of looks like a shaman.
There's a sword there.
I believe it is the Pirates. I believe it was.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I
All
think
right,
it is the Pirates.
Carl Smith, everybody. That's what he's here for. Couldn't remember Jerry.
Hampton Pirates.
I don't think Hampton has a prayer to
No.
be Virginia, so I'm kind of going to just say Virginia wins.
And that's an easy one. You shouldn't even. You should just skip the last 25 seconds or so on this.
Sure.
All right, Virginia moves on. That brings us to the 8-9 matchup between the Butler Bulldogs and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Butler, they've been tournament darlings again and again. They've lost in the finals a few times, right?
Yeah, but they went. Once.
It felt like twice.
It was once. Brad Stevens went to the NBA, coaches the Celtics still. Tubby Smith over in Texas Tech, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I really think that
Having a head coach named Tubby,
Yeah.
you cannot overstate.
Yeah.
like Tubby's an
And if he
It's
was
a name you use to make fun
slender,
of people.
if he was slender, it would be different.
It'd be
But
ironic.
Also,
Slender
Yeah.
Smith. Like, I wouldn't trust that guy either. He
You
sounds
know
like a Dick Tracy.
if I have a son,
He won't. That involves meeting a girl. Anyway, I'm going with Butler because even though 8-9 isn't technically ever an upset, I like Butler. I think they score a little bit more, and I don't really give a shit about Texas Tech. That's where I'm at. Jeff, stats to tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you got Butler. They averaged about 80 points a game this year, giving up 71.2. Texas Tech, on the other hand, they don't score as much. They always average about 72 a game. They give up 69 a game. And as we all know, in the tournament, defense wins championships.
I agree.
Defense,
I agree.
defense
I agree.
wins games.
Yeah.
So I think, on virtue of that, even though Texas Tech has the crappier record against top 25 teams at 3-8, whereas Butler's 3-5, I'm gonna go with Texas Tech. I think they can do it.
given more opportunities, do you think Butler would also be 3-8, or do you think they would sneak one out there?
Tough to say. It depends on who those.
It's a hypothetical situation, I suppose, yeah.
Carl, you're going to have to break this tie, pal.
You both picked Butler, didn't you?
No, I picked Texas Tech.
Oh, then I'll also take Texas Tech. I don't think Butler had a very good squad this year.
TT moving on.
One of their off years. They've been a force in the past, but
And the famous 5-12 matchup. This time we got the Purdue Boilermakers versus the Arkansas Little Rock. That's a good one, right?
Yes.
What is that?
Boy, I cannot.
They look like Spartans, Trojans.
I cannot say enough. I am on the Little Rock bandwagon.
Wow.
I am taking them in the upset again. Like I said, defense is a key to winning in the NCAA tournament.
yeah.
They're averaging, allowing opponents to score 59.6 points a game on the season.
Could that be due to the garbage conference that they're in?
Well, they're in the Sun Belt, remind you.
Yeah,
So
the Sun Belt is a wide open league, a lot of fast, paced games,
Right. The lockdown.
a lot of
Right on the
sunlight.
waist.
Yeah,
Keeps your pants up. I get it.
we're looking at an upper tier small conference here. It's not the MEAC, it's not the SWAC. The Sun Belt is definitely, it's not mid-major, but it's a top small conference. And to get out of there, I mean, you gotta have some kind of talent.
They did go 29-4. I think that's pretty impressive.
29-4. That's a pretty darn good record. Again,
Yeah.
only allowing opponents to score 59.6 a game. Defense takes it here. I'm going to say Little Rock in the upset, the 12-5.
Purdue has they got a 14 RPI. They're 10 in the BPIs. I mean, they're a good team. And a lot of people are saying they're actually underseeded. Actually, a lot of Big Ten teams are just underseeded in this entire tournament. I'm going to take Purdue because, well, I want to see what you say. That's pretty much where we're at.
You want to listen to this?
Yeah. So you're up. Break this tie, Carl.
Okay. This one has upset written all over it. It's in bold. However, it's going to be one of one of those games where it's like you're watching it and you flip to it. You might be watching another game first, but you flick over to it because you're like, holy 61-61, 2 seconds left. X had, they have the ball. Let's see what they do. And I don't know who has the ball last, but it's definitely going to come down to the last possession. And for that,
we're going to the coin.
Going to the coin.
Well, what's which on the coin?
What?
Who's who on the coin?
Yeah, who's who on the coin?
Heads is Purdue. Tails, Arkansas, Little Rock.
I like that. Get on the table.
Tails! It never fails!
There
2
it
for
is,
2
the
on the
upset.
coin flip challenge.
Little Rock.
Arkansas, Little Rock moving on over poor Purdue. Boy.
Who has a great squad, but just it's one of those things.
But apparently not good enough,
Yeah.
Just crazy. That brings us to our 4-13 matchup. The Iowa State Cyclones versus the Iona Gales.
I have a very interesting statistic here.
Go on.
45% of Iona shots are behind the arc.
Really?
If they can have one of their games where they get hot, they can take down the Cyclones. They can.
Good to know. Jeff, what do you think?
You can't argue with that logic. Like we said, the NCAA tournament is all about outside shooting. Iona gives themselves a better chance to win by hoisting up that many shots from downtown. And I can't help but think about those Iowa teams, Iowa State, continually disappoint in the tournament. It seems like you can bank on it every year.
Yeah,
They're going to go out early. I like Iona in the upset in this one. I would take them.
I hate to cut you off here, but in last year's selection show, was it last year or the year before? Last year we had Iowa State as a Final Four team.
They were so hot.
And I believe they lost in the first round, right?
Yes, they did.
I believe they did.
So, are we looking at back-to-back upsets here, Joe?
No, I don't think that they're going to lose to Iona in this case, but I don't really expect them to go that much further.
Okay.
I think they learned from last year a little bit, not to take it for granted as a high seed playing a low seed. And I think that Iowa State learned from it, and they're going to win this year in the first round. Break that tie.
I'm a little bit worried here because I think that Iona could play the Cinderella here. I think they could. But if we have them moving on, then we're looking at an Arkansas Little Rock Iona matchup in the round of 32, and I just can't have that.
It seems like it happens every year, though, where you have two double-digit seeds that end up playing each other in that next round.
Well, you said it didn't happen last year. Last year was the first year in a long time that a 12 seed didn't beat a 5.
And so last year was almost like an outlier that it didn't happen. So I think it goes back to that this year. And I think this is a spot in the brackets that has a really good chance for that to happen. And again, winning in the NCAA tournament, it's all about hitting your stride at the right time, getting hot. Iona started the year bad, but their last 12 games, they're 11-1. You know, they really got their shit together.
Ran the table in the MAC.
Yeah, they got their shit together. Whereas, Whereas Iowa State, they've struggled. They're 5-7 in their last 12 games. Again. You know.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where I feel like we've had a lot of animosity through a few matchups here and there where we've had like honest debates on who was going to come out on top. And
who is it, Carl? Who's coming out on top? Break this tie.
You know what the worst thing is though is that for the second game in a row, I'm going to have to go into a coin flip because it's that close.
Okay.
It's that close.
Coin flip game.
And it's that thing where I said the Duke Wilmington game was going to be a close game. It was going to lead us off. And then this game starts at 2:20, I believe, if I'm correct.
It's actually 2 o'clock, but that's neither here nor there.
I don't think it's 2. I think it's 2.
I mean, it's right there. But anyway.
Sabres lost.
Yeah.
And
Better. Too bad they got the point though. From
Carl, flip the coin.
so which so you're gonna how about Iowa State heads, Iona tails?
Yep.
that's what
That
it
sounds-
will be.
That's what we're going for. Tails it is! Hey, Iona, moving on.
Iona.
12-13
Look at those
matchup.
gals.
Gosh, that is crazy.
Tails.
That's why we have the show, because not everything is chalk.
Right.
It's not always going to go higher seed advances.
Why don't you tell us about the next matchup, Carl?
Okay. Let's go with Seton Hall out of the Big East versus Gonzaga, who probably were not going to get in had they not won their conference.
That's been the first time in like, what, how long has it been?
Yeah,
14, 15 years?
they've been in there quite a while.
Gonzaga's been around for a
Have you
while.
seen the HBO special on them?
I didn't know that was a thing. I don't have HBO.
No. Okay. Well,
You got a
they,
Google account I can borrow?
I mean, I do have HBO, but I'm not whole up on the technology thing.
He's still
Yeah.
new here.
Um,
Tell me about Seton Hall.
Seton Hall, Isaiah Whitehead. I mean, Big East Player of the Year. Yeah, he can do it all, folks. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Buddy Hield at Oklahoma, Isaiah Whitefield, Field.
Whitehead, yeah. He's
Whitehead.
averaging 18.4 a game, 5 assists a game.
Yeah.
Like you said, bona fide stud
Yeah.
leading that team.
Yeah.
Also a certified G. Anyways, for me, Seton Hall, they came out, they won their conference tournament.
Beat Xavier 5th, then proceeded to beat Villanova
Oh,
4th, I think, at the time. Both of them, back to back, won the Big East championship. They're not going to lose to Gonzaga.
You know what this reminds me of, though? It reminds me of the year that Syracuse went through the tournament and won the Big East, and all of a sudden everybody had them going to the Elite Eight or the Final Four because they were so hot with Jerry McNamara dropping threes and stuff. And what did they do? They came out late egg and they were out really
Well,
terrible.
you could say the same thing about when UConn came out, won the Big East, then made a Final Four run.
Yeah, but they paid off the referees. It's different.
true. Carl, who do you got?
I got Seton Hall and Love.
Who do you got?
Well, I'm actually taking Gonzaga, so you're going to have to split
Okay.
this.
For me, it's too close to call, so we're going to go to a coin flip.
Unbelievable!
Third-
This is
third
unprecedented.
straight one. Third straight one. We're going to go head Seton Hall, tails Gonzaga. Tails it is!
It is yet to fail! Unbelievable!
I think we're making a huge mistake here. I think
We-
we're living in the past.
We may be.
You know what I mean? Adam Morrison isn't there anymore. They don't, I just.
It's okay, man. The coin doesn't lie.
All right.
Coin don't lie.
Next, we got the Fresno State Bulldogs, the Utah Utes, Andrew Bogut, alma mater. What do you got, Jeff, for me? Hit me.
Well, you have a great tradition at Utah. Rick Majerus, got Keith Van Horn. Andre Miller was,
A player.
to me, no, I believe he was one of the great college point guards that never really got his due. However,
from the Clips, and
the team this year is led by that kid. I'm trying to pull it up. His name escapes me right now, folks. Okay. But Podol. I forgot how you pronounce it. Podol. He's leading them. Averaging 17.6 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, and as we know, winning in the NCAA tournament, it's all about controlling the glass, controlling the boards. You got a guy out there that's averaging 9 points, 9 rebounds a game. Fresno, they've been a nice story this year. They've done well. They're 9-3, or they're 11-1 in their last 12. But I think this is where it ends right here, and I think Utah's gonna take.
I think Utah's a very good team. The only problem they've ever really had with their record, they've played Oregon 3 times actually. I think they lost all 3 of those matchups. They're a good team. They score well. They rank well. All of their advanced metrics say that they're actually a very good team. That's why they're ranked 3rd. Fresno State kind of snuck into the tournament basically by winning their conference tournament, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So they probably shouldn't really be here, but they are. I don't think they're going to be here for long, though, so I'm going with Utah.
Yeah, a lot of the public has the Fresno State as a trendy upset, but it's not happening here.
No,
yeah, I agree.
Utah moving on. All
I'm
right,
not
cool.
a huge proponent of the Pac-12, but Utah's going to escape this one. Sure. Pretty worry-free.
That brings us to our next matchup in St. Louis. It is the Dayton Flyers taking on the Syracuse Orange. A lot of controversy over Syracuse even being in the field with such a low RPI when there were potentially better options out there that got snubbed. I think Syracuse has been up and down all year. I don't think they've been that great. I think Dayton is actually a very good team. I think they might almost be better than a 7 seed. But maybe that's about right.
Yeah, this is where I disagree with you. I feel like Dayton's been sort of a massacre all year. They play in the tournament around Thanksgiving. I forget what it's called. It escapes me. But they lose to Xavier by 30. And I mean, I know they were ranked up as high as about 15-ish during the regular season, but I just feel like they've been here and there, and you just never know what you're gonna get out of the Flyers. But I mean, Syracuse with Cooney, and he's just irresponsible with the ball. I feel like at times. But, I mean, you expect more out of a senior guard, and you just never know what's gonna happen. I mean, Syracuse loses to Pitt in their ACC quarterfinal, and I mean,
So who do you got?
It's a toss-up for me. It's honestly 50-50, and I just take Syracuse here because I don't.
You're gonna take
I
Syracuse?
don't think that either team is good. I feel like it is the immaculate.
You're incredibly off.
Immaculate matchup of mediocrity.
Dayton's 20 in the RPI. They've had some good wins along the way. They're a better team. I don't think again that Syracuse should even be there. I'm going with Dayton, which means we're going to throw it to Stat Guy Jeff, who's going to wow you with some numbers, and then he's going to pick the winner.
Well, you know, you got for Syracuse, Jabinji averaging 17.8 points a game, along with 4.4 assists. You know, he's really their leader. You got Dayton, who's led by Cook. I think this one could go either way, really, but I'm gonna go with again the team that's entering the tournament a little bit hotter right now, and I'm gonna go with Dayton.
And I agree. I mean, I believe Syracuse has lost 5 of their last 6.
You agree? You picked Syracuse.
I know, but it's just one of those games where it doesn't matter who comes out on top because
they're running into a buzzsaw.
I mean, I understand you need that 1 point for your bracket, but it's just one of those games where,
all right,
you're not going to get caught later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. So that brings us to the 2:15 matchup. Middle Tennessee taking on Michigan State Spartans, who probably should be a 1 seed in this tournament.
Yeah, they
got kind of boned. They lost a few games without Valentine, their best player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's back, and they're kind of ripping through people. Plus, now they have added, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they want to win more. Attitude.
Oh, they're motivated.
That's the word.
Motivated.
Thank you, Jeff.
They're hungry. They want it. You know, they really want it.
I think Michigan State's winning pretty easily.
Tom Izzo is just.
Yeah, I don't know the spread on this game, but I'd assume Michigan State wins by about 37. I would say they double it. Just
I would.
It's not going to be close.
No, right. Michigan State in a cakewalk. We don't even need to really talk about Middle Tennessee State. Thanks for stopping by. You guys will get some money.
I believe they're sort of the Mountaineers, maybe.
They're sort of the Mountaineers. Yeah, they're not the real Mountaineers. All right, second round. That takes us to the Virginia Cavaliers taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I didn't even think Texas Tech would be Butler, so I'm going to just go with Virginia here again.
Is someone left in the
She might be. No,
I'll go with the Cavaliers here also. I mean, it's going to be a cakewalk for them right
Cavaliers moving on.
Oh, Cavaliers moving on for sure. RPI of 3. What can you say?
Yeah, Virginia definitely moving on here.
All right, and then we'll move on
to the most amazing matchup ever, the 12-13 matchup. Arkansas Little Rock taking on the Iona Gales. I didn't really think Iona was going to beat Iowa State, so I'm on the Arkansas Little Rock bandwagon. I think they're this side of the bracket Cinderella. They're going to go to another round.
Okay. And I'll allow it because you get hot every now and again. You don't get hot every game, which is what Iona would need.
I think that the way they're able to pressure the ball on defense is really going to be what determines the outcome of this game. I think their defense is going to lead them in this one, and as we all know, defense is how you win in the NCAA.
I agree completely.
So I'm going to go with Little Rock. And
Arkansas Little Rock moving on. That's
consensus. I hear it.
ARLR going on. The next matchup is Gonzaga taking on Utah. I think Gonzaga kind of squeaks by Seton Hall in the first round, so taking on Utah, who I think is actually a very good team. I think they're still slightly underrated. I think Utah kind of wins this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board.
Yeah,
Like I said, I didn't think Gonzaga stood a chance versus Seton Hall.
Interesting question. Do you think Seton Hall beats Utah?
I think I do. Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
I honestly think I do. I
That's
mean,
a
they
shame.
came out of the Big East. They won the championship there. They, like I said, they beat two top 5 teams in a matter of 2 days.
I think that beats. I think that's why they're. It doesn't matter that they're gone.
I understand that,
Let's
but
not talk about
you
it anymore.
gave me a situation.
You're right, I did.
We left it up to the coin.
Yeah, flip the coin, man. Tails is yet to fail.
No, and
There is a heads on this coin, people. Like it's right
There is, yeah.
But is it weighted?
I mean,
You pulled the quarter out of it.
No, it's
Tails.
Okay, well, whatever. Maybe
We're just gonna have to scrap the whole
Yeah. All right.
show.
Anyway, folks. Dayton taking on Michigan State.
No contest.
Yeah, I think Michigan State's rolling them.
That's all they
Once again, it might be another 36-point game we're looking
It
at
might
here.
be Michigan State's going to roll them in this one.
And even if it's Syracuse, you're looking at the same game. Like I said, it doesn't matter who wins that first round game unless you're going for the perfect bracket, which never happens.
So there we go. Moving on to the next round. We're zipping through this at this point. Virginia taking on Arkansas Little Rock. Jeff, what do you got, man?
This is where the Cinderella story ends for
Dream dies
for Arkansas Little Rock. I like them. Like I said, they're a great defensive team. Virginia's though, they're very, very tough, and they got great leadership, great coaching. You got to take Virginia in this one.
Okay, Virginia it is. Actually, is it, Carl?
Yeah,
I mean,
it absolutely is.
I mean, you nodded around recruiting the whole time. Which brings us to Utah, Michigan State, which I think is going to be a fantastic game. But Carl, what do you think is going to happen?
I think you're going a little crazy there on that fantastic game. I'll take Michigan State pretty smoothly. Utah coming out of the Pac-12. Overrated conference, like as we've stated all along. I'm not done talking. And I just think, like you said, Michigan State was underseeded. And I think they'll blow by them pretty easily once again.
Denzel Valentine, I believe, is the best player in the country. I think he's better than Buddy Hield. I think he's better than Simmons at LSU. I think he's better than Ingram at Duke. I really do. And I think he leads them in this one past Utah. Utah is a good team, but I think that he's just a really excellent player.
Okay, I mean, I go with Michigan State 2 here. Not that matters too much because they're already moving on. Which brings us to our Elite Eight matchup. Who's winning the Midwest? Is it the defense of Virginia or the everything of Michigan State? Carl?
This is probably the best Elite Eight matchup we've had so far.
I agree.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you look at it and you're like, what am I looking for? Compare and contrast. Okay,
Sure.
you get that, and you get Virginia, who's so underrated. I mean, like, they're in the ACC, and you just hear nobody talking about them ever, even as a 1 seed. I mean, they're not the status of Oregon where you're like, they don't belong, but they're just one of those teams where you're like,
It's because they're boring. It's because they play defense. Because they wear you down, they go slow, you don't score that many points, they score a little bit more than you when they win.
And they win with their system. They win with their offensive system.
Yeah.
And we know that in the NCAA tournament, it's all about offensive systems. When you want to, winning the tournament, winning games, it's all about being able to run your offense properly.
Yeah, I agree.
And Virginia does that. Probably, they might do that better than any other team in the country right now.
So you would take Virginia?
No, I would take Michigan State because I think Denzel Valentine is, again, he's the best player. He's the best player in the country, in my opinion. and I just think he's a matchup nightmare for anyone that Virginia tries to bring at him. I take Michigan State.
And I promised a certain Krzyzewski, Elisa Krzyzewski, that I would take Virginia in her honor as a little personal shout out to her. So we'll leave it up to you.
Oh, I'm taking Michigan State, especially because of your reasoning.
Okay.
But actually, everything Jeff said is kind of how I feel too. I think Michigan State's probably one of the top 3 teams in this bracket, and not that that's going out on some
And
crazy
when you
limb.
say bracket, you mean the whole
thing, the
Okay.
whole field, the whole
Yes,
field.
the bracket.
Because when I hear bracket, I think of region.
Well, I would have said region, but
Well,
the,
I mean, it's the common folk when you hear
point
bracket.
the point here is that Michigan State's moving on to the Final Four,
Okay.
and we'll be back with the East in just a quick minute. She's not